Hello everyone, welcome to this month's project, Coin Banks. This project is one surely to thrill the younger folks in your family. It would make a good gift for a birthday or a holiday. This colorful project has 3 steps: the designing section, the machining section, the finishing and assembly section. So let's go ahead with making this project. Here's our bill of materials for this project. You're going to need 3/4 inch poplar, some primer, paints, colors for your graphics, a plastic clear Christmas ornament, 1024 threaded rod and nuts, CA glue, 1/4 inch acrylic plastic, a 1/4 inch upcut router bit, a 1/2 inch upcut router bit, and a 60-degree V-bit. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is create a new file. Come over here, create a new file. Our file is going to be 12 inches wide, 16 inches tall, and 1.25 inches thick. It's going to be on the material surface. It is a double-sided job setup. We are going to use the center as the XY datum position. We are going to flip from right to left. So let's say OK. This is basically our workplace right here. We've got our sizes. So the next thing we need to do is get an image. And what I did is I went onto the internet, started looking under cartoons and coloring books, and come up with several things. The one that I thought was kind of the neatest and cutest was this dinosaur right here. So I imported this dinosaur. Now, this is a JPEG file. We can't really do a lot with it, so we have to sit there and we have to trace this out. So what we do is we come over here to where the trace and bitmap. Okay. Tell it to trace. We're going to do black and white. The default corner fit, we want it pretty tight because we want to hold pretty true to the picture. 1 pixel noise filter, what that basically does is it's going to sit there and look at all the pixels. We're not going to really ignore anything. So let's go ahead and preview it. We go ahead and preview it, and as you can see, it's pretty good. So we'll leave it there and say apply. Close this menu. Now at this point in time, we can come up to layers and we can turn off the bitmap layer. All this leaves us now is with our vector layer. Okay. Now I'll do layers if I have things that I'm going to stack on top of each other, or when I do the tool pathing, there are certain things that I want separated out from the other things. But for this particular one, we're pretty good the way it is. We'll just use the layering for the method. I like to change the color sometimes so I do know what layer I'm on. So we'll change it to blue. So really the first thing that we have to do here is we got to clean this vector up. You know, like I said, it came in pretty good. But when you start looking at it from the node standpoint, the next thing we have to do is ungroup this object. So we're going to highlight everything. And we're going to ungroup it, because usually when you trace it, it traces it in as a group, and then you have to separate the parts if you want to edit it. So we got our parts separated. We can go in here now and edit it. And you will see that some of these are really a lot of nodes. And it's not really what I wanted. So what we have to do is edit it and clean this up. Another thing is before I really start editing anything, I want to get this to the size that I really want it to be. So the next thing we're going to do really is resize this guy. Okay, highlight everything, click on it, and you'll see these handles out here. And what we're going to do is just pull them out. Just pull them out. And again, I want this thing to be a little bit taller than it is now, so I'm going to have to make it skinnier. So let's take this handle in here and draw it in a little bit. And now let's draw it up. Let's draw it down. Oh, that looks pretty cool. Tell everybody to get centered. And we did. I like that. It's kind of cute. And that's what it's really important. That's why I say go with cartoons or coloring book images, because they're simple and they're usually pretty cute. So now what's the next thing we got to do? Well, in our particular instance, since we're making a bank, the eyebrows, they're not going to do anything for me, so I'm going to get rid of them. Circles. You notice that we traced both the inside and the outside of the circles. I really don't like that because it's going to make a big fat black line, and I don't need two fat black lines, so I'm going to eliminate all the interior ones. And all I'm doing is deleting them. Now, do I like the shapes of them? Yeah, they're okay. I've got some that are kind of weird, like this one here. If you look at it with the edit, it's kind of strange looking. So what we can do is we can actually make our own. So I went up there and to draw an ellipse, and I put it in the center. And now I can draw an ellipse and kind of draw it about the same size as we had there. Cool. And then I can get rid of this, the one that is really funky looking. Oops, got rid of the wrong one. Gonna get rid of the funky one. And the same up here. If I think this is kind of weird looking, I can make one for it. And you can go through and do this to all of them. And let's make them a little bit fatter, yeah, a little bit longer. And you can do this to all of them. I'm going to leave the rest of them alone. Another part of it I don't like is these eyes. And what I'm going to do with the eyes is just like I did with the spots. I'm going to draw my own eyeballs in with the ellipse tool. And I can pretty much get what I need. So I can close that. Now I can kind of pull it into where I want it to be. Okay. Pull it out here a little bit. Pull it out here a little bit more, maybe. I kind of like that. And then I can make an ellipse for the eyeball itself. And this may seem like a lot of work now, but you're going to find in the end this is going to really save us some time. So I can get rid of that line there. And what I'm going to eventually do is get rid of part of this line here. So I can get rid of this guy here. And I've got those guys. I can set there and take that over later. Now what I'm going to do with my eyeball now is I'm going to just kind of center this a little bit. And I may have to come in here a little bit and there, I like that a lot better. And then I can bring this guy up so he's matched up a little bit better with that. Now what I want to do is get rid of this line right here. I don't like it. It makes him look like he's got glasses or something. So what we can do is come in and edit it. And I can come here and I can cut a vector here. And I can come in here and cut a vector here. And then I can get rid of this piece right here. Okay. Now, for this eyeball over here, all I'm going to do is copy and paste. and just drag him over here to where I want him to be. Same thing with this guy here. I'll just copy and paste and drag him over here where I want him to be. Okay. Well, see, I like that better like that. It doesn't look like he's got glasses now. Now, with this line here, I can bring it up to connect to these if I like that look a little bit better. So what I can do is just come into Node Edit, take this node, and just drag it over here. Same thing over here. Take this node and drag it over here. Okay? Voila. Well, I like that a lot better. Okay? I don't like this here, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And I could take this and extend it down if I want. We'll put another node right in here, add a node, insert a point, and what we can do now is basically, see? Like that a lot better. Oh, everything else is pretty much okay. I like it. It'll work. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. I've already got a file done, so I'm going to open it up. And as you can see, all of my stuff is in place. And here's my toolpathing. And basically the toolpathing is, this is again, like I said, a two-sided. And here's the other side. Now, a couple things. These holes here are alignment holes. And that is so you get the alignment correct going front to back. Another thing that I put in is 1/4 inch holes. And the reason for that is I start putting them all on the perimeter here. And what they're for, or what they will be for, is they're going to be clamping points. And what I do is take threaded pieces of threaded rod, and instead of having a bunch of clamps, I take the threaded rod, put it through all the 1/4 inch holes. Now these become my clamping holes. Okay? So, I'm ready to sit there and start doing my toolpaths. On the top, I do the top last. And I know that kind of sounds funny, but I do. I go to the back, and the very first thing that I do is I put in my spoil board holes. That's these 4 holes here. Because originally I'll have this clamped down with the clamps on my spoil board. So I drill these holes, and what they're really basically for is alignment holes. So when I flip this over, everything stays in alignment. The next thing I want to do is the coin pocket. This is basically the pocket that goes between his mouth and his throat. This is on the back side of the front piece. I know that sounds confusing, but when you see the machining video, it'll make a lot more sense. I machine this pocket out. And then the last thing that I do is I machine the outline on the outline here. Okay? And this is a V-groove. So I do all my V-grooving. But all my V-grooving is not done on the back of the front. It's done on the back of the back. And again, that'll make more sense when you see the video. Then I go around and do the front. I glue everything together, and then I do the front. Okay? Now, what I do before I glue it together is I temporarily clamp the front and the back together and drill all of my alignment holes and all of my clamping holes. So what I would have in this order here is that I would do a pocket with a 1/4 inch bit. The cut depth, I would make it whatever the thickness of my stock is. My stock happens to be 3/4 of an inch. And I would do all of my holes. So all of these holes go through. They're all through holes, and then I calculated, it says, hey dummy, you're going to probably go through because you said the material thickness was 1/2 inch. Well, whatever. And there's all my holes drilled in. And if I want to do the preview, that's what it looks like. Okay? So, I would rename this and call it clamping pockets. Okay, so when I go to do the next step is come in and save the toolpaths. Now the thing about saving the toolpaths, you got to remember, make sure you have the correct post processor for your particular machine. Okay, I've got my post processor here. I am going to do the clamping one. Add the side to the toolpath name. I like to do that so if I'm looking at the names, I know these are on the bottom, these are on the top, etc. And go ahead and save it. And you're done. And you do that for all of your toolpaths, front and back. I hope that helps you out. I hope you watch the machining video. It will make clearer some of the steps that I talked about here. Remember to support all of our sponsors, for they're the ones that make this possible. Crystal-Lac, Next Wave, Crystal-Lac, Kencraft Company, that's where I get all my wood from, and of course my website, silverbackwoodworking.com. Again, thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next video, machining.